Hi, and welcome to episode 2 of Meet Our Team. I'm here with Allan Minter. Allan, say hi.
Hello.
And thank you so much for joining, Allan. I figured today we just talk for, I don't know, about 20 minutes, just about who you are to draw change, what you've been doing with draw change, for how long and why, and all that good stuff.
Cool.
So why don't we start off with how long have you been involved with draw change, and how did you find us? Because I honestly can't remember that part.
I think it's close to coming on maybe a year and a half, and I found draw change. It's kind of a it's not exactly like a romantic answer, but I found it through Google. It was a Google search, and it was at a point. It was like I think it was like last spring, 2019, where I was just everything in my life was just going so well, and I felt very blessed, and I was just like, I need to give back to the community somehow because I haven't done any kind of like charitable work or nonprofit work since Atlanta Dog Squad. I used to be a foster parent with Atlanta Dog Squad, and so most of my former nonprofit involvement was with dogs in the past, and but I was just ready for something different this time, and I met with Hands on Atlanta because I was aware of them, and it just seemed they're a great organization, but I couldn't really get like terribly passionate about the events that I was seeing with them. And then Draw Change, it was like the second or third link on a Google search. And, I was just like, when I clicked on the link and like read about the history of Draw Change and what Draw Change does, I was kind of blown away. I was just like, this is insane. Like, how did I not know about this art therapy for homeless children? Because I love art. And my daughter Stella and I, we were kind of hanging out at Little Five Points every Monday, befriending like a lot of the homeless community there, and we were like buying them lunches and stuff. And Stella loves art, so this was like all the stars were aligning, And when I read about Draw Change, I was like, okay, this is what I'm going to start pursuing as a nonprofit, and I'm really grateful that we kind of broke the ice and have taken it from there because it's been amazing.
That's awesome. Well, yeah, we're definitely grateful that you have become involved with Stella. So I have a few questions based off what you just said. My first silly, but actually not like real question is, my marketing manager will want to know, what did you Google?
I know. I was thinking about that while I was talking too. I mean, I think it was like Atlanta-based nonprofit.
Okay.
Because I wanted something local, and I think it was Atlanta-based nonprofit or nonprofits in Atlanta, something pretty simple.
And why did because at the time you just read our website. So what about our mission, which I know is on our site? What about our mission led you to believe, because at that time you didn't know that, you mentioned the word passionate, right? Like you wanted something that you could connect with. And also, what about our mission enticed you?
It was the fact that you guys actually connected with like the homeless community, especially like the homeless children, because I mean, obviously I have a soft spot for kids in general, but when you factor homeless children, it's just like, yeah, I mean, so you guys like kind of broke through and you were actually like working with them with respect to art, and like it's almost like seeing is believing too, because you don't really know until you know. I mean, you can read anything on a website, but it just kind of touches the surface, So I think it wasn't until like my first experience, volunteering with Draw Change is when I got to see like the actual hands-on activities that you guys were doing. I think it was at the Grand Park shelter, and I remember Michaela brought in I think it was a ukulele, and so you guys actually incorporated music with the kids then too, and I was like blown away by that too because I'm obsessed with music. So I was to me, it was just like you guys were just doing such great work, and that just meant a lot to me. So
awesome. Thank you. Well, what was I going to ask? When you say actually connecting with the homeless community, you mean, correct me if I'm wrong, the difference between like collecting food and then dropping it off, and then what we do is actually work with them, together with them, hang out with them. Okay.
You guys were making a big difference. I mean, it wasn't just the typical like dropping off care packages, or anything like that, which is, of course, and don't get me wrong. I mean,
No,
these are
needed.
all, every little bit helps, you know, but you guys were actually like going over like guided meditation, which quite frankly for me is important too. In my life, I'm 42. I think that's important for me. I think it's important for everybody. But I think it's very important for kids, especially probably homeless children too, because like they have so much more stress, I think, than your average kid, you know? So like, it was just, it meant a lot to me, you know, and I'm not, I mean, I felt like it was just kind of like meant to be because like you guys are going through all the things that I've been working on. It's kind of like, you know, almost like a little bit of yoga, a little bit of Zen, kind of calming your brain, and then giving the kids an outlet, you know, something to work on. And again, I mean, this meant a lot to Stella too. I mean, I have to say, like, it was honestly kind of a little bit selfish too, because quite frankly, Stella was reaping the benefits of all of this work too. You know, even though she was volunteering, she was involved, you know, and she was getting help from it too. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah. And Stella is how old?
She's 6. She turned 6 in April.
Okay, so she was right at 6, right, when she started volunteering?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, I mean, she was like in her prime with drawchange before COVID. She was 5, of course.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, we haven't been back at the shelters or at that one shelter that you used to volunteer at since February.
Right.
What for her, especially, like, have you seen anything, any differences, or does
she cried?
Oh no!
She did cry.
That's all I expected to say.
You know, Stella's very sensitive. You know, she's got a big heart, which is obviously I'm grateful for. You know, but yeah, she cried when she found out like we couldn't go back because of COVID. You know, and then with respect to like a change in her behavior, I mean, it's just everything is just so different now, and I think we're all just doing the best we can just to kind of adjust and live. It's almost like, you know, every new day is like something new. So
yeah.
I mean, there was a time where she was like going to go back to school, but then they kind of like they put the red light on that, and then but I'm just doing my best to kind of like get her. I don't have to teach her or encourage her to work with art because like she does art in her spare time all the time anyway. So I'm really happy about that. But we miss it. We miss the interaction with the kids, with the homeless kids, and you know, I mean, we're of course we're all ready to get back. You know.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. Cindy on Facebook says, Stella's like my son. I hope they meet one day. Oh, that would be sweet. I know her son too. They would love each other. So yeah, to give people who are listening an idea, what Stella did was act like she just hung out. She hung out with them and she acted like one of the children. I don't want to say act like, what's the word? She participated. That participated is the right way, right? And I actually just remembered this, the very first day that she volunteered at that shelter. It might have been the second session, actually. It was a project where it's called My Art Can Help You, and we pair the children. And she got paired with a child from the homeless shelter, and they were to take turns telling each other something that's on their mind, something that's worrying them. And I remember Stella openly shared, I can't remember what she shared, I don't know if you do, but she openly shared. And then when it was the little girl's time to share, the little girl was shy and kind of scared.
Yeah.
And that scared Stella. And I specifically remember she turned around to look for you and she was like, Daddy, I want to go. And you encouraged her to stay. And, you know, now, you know, those children, you know, those two little girls are, you know, very each other, or they were before COVID. But yeah, I remember that. And to me, that's so natural because it was a very new environment. I'm making her talk to a stranger. The stranger is not talking to her. It's like that'd be kind of weird for adults, never mind children. Do you remember that?
Right. I do, yeah, and they did become really close there. I mean, you know, that's the thing. Like that's one of the reasons I'm sure she cried, is because like she really truly made good friends there at that shelter. At least 2 or 3, and you know, but definitely, I mean, she had to step outside of her comfort box, her, you know, comfort zone a little bit, and you know, it's one of those things. I mean, I have to be like full transparency. Like, I think she got some of it, but she didn't really get all of it. You know, like she knew that we were going to a shelter where the kids were homeless, and I try to encourage her because I've read all the drawchange, guidelines and everything. And I try to encourage her, tell her like, don't ask the kids about their home or, anything like that. Try, all the kind of like trigger phrases and things, we try to work on that, and she did a good job. She really did. But, there were some conversations that, some of the kids just kind of opened up to her too, and told her about it, which was kind of endearing as well. But, yeah, she loved it, she really did. And I'll say, the only thing that, sometimes, and I'm sure Jeannie, you could kind of like agree with this, I mean, I got a little bit like uneasy sometimes when she was talking about like, let's just say like some of the projects were like, well, where do you want to go? Some places that she's already been and like places that she just got back from, like Disney World and like the Disney cruise. I was just like, oh, please stop, Stella, please. Because I felt bad. I mean, and she means well, like she didn't know.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
But, but it was okay. I think the kids like they didn't like get their feelings hurt from that, and
I appreciate you saying that, but I think there's also beauty in what you said, that she got some of it but not all of it. And the reason why I say there's beauty in that too, because we're all the same. Yes, Stella has a home and a house, and they do not have a house, but we all have a home, like we're all the same. So it's kind of, as long as no one's feelings are getting hurt, and that's breeding to confusion with like, wait, you're saying you've already gone to Disney World, but all I ever,
right.
Which, yeah, but I do remember that a few times, but it's something that we also have encountered, because every time we have art camp, our art camp is for children with homes in our community. We also have scholarships available for homeless children. And
right.
CJ, who I see is watching right now, we have had to quote unquote break up some conversations because the children it goes a little, in a small intimate setting, it goes a little too far, and then
right.
You can hurt someone's feelings. But yeah, I never saw that issue with Stella. Cindy said, I'm so happy to hear Allan brings his daughter to volunteer. It melts my heart. So like, I think we were talking about right before this call, that Cindy brings her toddler. And Cindy is one of our program directors in Orlando, to give you a little bit of an idea. And CJ said, great to hear the story of how you found drawchange, Allan. We are so happy to have you join us. CJ.
Of course. How you doing, CJ? Yeah, I'm missing him too.
Yeah, I know. It's like we have this really like close-knit group, what I call #drawchange family, and we've tried our best to email everyone to make sure everyone knows where we are, make sure they know that we're still kicking, we're still doing work, we're still but there's nothing like the in-person. So we really do hope that we get back to that soon and could have you and Stella join us back.
Absolutely. I'm trying to, it hasn't been easy to stay positive this year, and it's not easy, but I really truly, like, for the first time in a while, I'm starting to feel good about maybe the near future, and when you look at the vaccine that's in progress, I don't think they're 100% done yet, but a lot of the news that's out there now is pretty promising, with respect to the vaccines, and hopefully we'll just be able to kind of get back on track. I mean, and just get back out there. I mean,
yeah.
But until
fingers crossed,
we're like kind of like on survival mode, I guess, for a little bit.
Right. Yeah. For sure. And one thing about you is that you are one of our newest board members of drawchange.
Yay.
Congratulations! I'm super excited about that.
I'm excited too.
Yeah, we have our first board meeting this Tuesday, and that's when you'll get to find out the real craziness behind this organization and what makes the organization run, because it's something completely different to, like, I can, off the top of my head, I'm categorizing people in three, for the sake of this conversation, in three buckets. People who donate because they see our website and they're like, hey, they're doing good work, I want to support it. Then people who volunteer, and then they get to intimately see the work that we're doing with the children. And then a whole other ball game is our board members who are behind the scenes, like looking at our finances, looking at how we're going to make it work, making sure that we're portraying to the community what it is that making sure we're staying compliant with the IRS and all that stuff. So maybe I should stop talking about that because I don't want to scare you away, because it's not always so much fun. But it is fun. I think, in my opinion, it's very rewarding to be at the base of everything. Yeah. I don't know. What made you join? What made you reach out to me and be like, hey, I'm interested in this?
Okay, that's actually a great question. To be completely honest with you, it's a lot of it's because of COVID. You know, I mean, like it's all the same reasons why I got involved with volunteering, because like at this point, it's like my hands are tied. That's how I feel like. I'm like, well, what can I do? You know, and then I was just like, let me see if I can get on the board, you know? So I think I just reached out to you about that. And I was like, okay, you know, I read the basic requirements. I was like, done, let's do it, you know? So I just want to get more involved, you know, quite frankly. And I thought that was like the best way to do it. So to be honest with you, I mean, I'm pretty sure, other than like different realtor councils, I mean, this is the first time in my life that I've been an actual board member, you know? And like I said, I'm 42, and you know, I'm excited about that, you know, so
cool.
It's like a new chapter.
Yeah, well, we're really excited to have you join. One last thing, and I maybe should have asked you this beforehand so you can think about it, but do you have a moment when you were volunteering at the shelters, or any other moment, quite frankly, with drawchange, but I would think that'd be top of your mind, at the shelters, that made you, and you talked about it a little bit already, but made you say like, yeah, I could see why this organization exists, or yeah, I want to be a part of this because I'm seeing X, Y, Z, or quite frankly, you know, transparency, like you said, this is an organization I want to donate to?
There are a lot of, that's a great question, first of all, but there are a lot of different factors that come into play. And, you know, one of them is just, you know, when I was a kid in the public school system, we had music class, and we had like all these instruments to our, you know, at our disposal. And like, those kind of things are like a thing of the past. I mean, you know, music and art, they're being cut from the public school system like drastically, to where it's just disgusting. And it's just, to me, it's so important, you know, music, art, poetry. I feel like those are some of the most important factors in our society. So, and then you guys are offering that as a nonprofit to not only children, but homeless children, you know? So, I mean, to me, it's a no-brainer, you know, and like, obviously, like the government's not always going to see it our way, you know, hence the cutbacks on music and art in public schools, but that's okay. That doesn't mean that we need to stop, you know, and like, you guys are doing it, and I think it's great.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
I think it's important. It's very important work.
Yeah. And to add to that, the homeless shelters that most, if not all, of our children from the homeless shelters go to are Title I schools, the schools with the least amount of funding in the United States. Yeah, so that's adding to that. CJ says, hi, Allan. Having Stella at the shelter was wonderful. She brought a wonderful energy to the children and the environment we were creating. I agree with that, for sure. Like I said, Stella was a participant. She just, you know, she would run in and start playing with them and until we called all the children, and then she would come in. Sometimes she would help, but, you know, I loved her being a participant, because I think bridging that, part of our mission is to bring about, to foster world peace by educating both sides of the coin. So you have, you know, the socioeconomic differences, and why can't we hang out together for an hour once a week? Like, yeah, so I just love that. And one last time, can't wait to see you both at shelters again sometime in the very near future. Yeah,
absolutely too. And I know Stella is excited about it too, you know, so we'll have to just kind of manifest destiny, you know, and it will happen.
Yes, for sure, for sure. Anything else you would like to share? One final thought that you can think of?
I just think, you know, now is like, it's probably, I think it's great what you're doing, you know, like this broadcast here, and like, it probably seems more important to do these kind of things like behind the scenes now that COVID is here, you know, and the numbers are getting worse again. So I guess it's just like trying to stay relevant, right? As a group, as an organization. And I think you guys are doing a great job, and I'm really looking forward to helping out more, and just grateful to be a part of it.
And I am too. Thank you so much for your time today, Allan. And yeah, hope to see you soon.
Thanks, Jeannie.
Thanks. Have a good one.
Have a good night. You too.
You too.
Bye.